It is my great privilege. Today we have a new subject, which is sanctity of calibration, vital for the growth of Indian business. Actually, it is very important that how the calibration or the verification impacts the system of industries, how they are doing the verification, or how they are basically producing, making their products. It is very important. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but your video is not visible.
Yeah, it is just going. I think there's some problem in the electricity. It will come itself. So what I was saying, today we have this very important subject. Actually, we are doing the testing and calibration, but how it affects the daily life, it is very important. And I hope that after this program, we have with us today Dr. Anil Jain, who is a known academician and the industrialist who has more than 45 years of experience, and has done a lot of know-how taken from the National Physical Laboratory and made and develops the new R&D equipments in the field at the industrial level. He is the basically attached with the different many universities like BITS Plani and other Kurukshetra University, etc. We have with us our Joint Secretary Sahab, Shri Vinit Mathur Sahab, first of all, and our Dikshit Sahab, the Director Legal Metrology, who is a retired Director Legal Metrology. First of all, I would like to request Shri Mathur sir to kindly inaugurate the workshop. Mathur sir, please.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh ji, and good morning to all participants. I welcome Dr. Anil Jain, the specialist who's going to speak about calibration and its importance for the society and economy. My initial thoughts on this subject have been that, this touches the calibration and use of scientific equipment by various organizations, be it commercial, merchant establishments, or industries, is important from every aspect for the society. Assuming all of us on a daily basis consume a lot of medicines, and there is a strength given to the medicine, and 250 mg, 300 mg, or milligrams or grams or whatever it may be. Now, the measurement or the instrument which is being used needs to be calibrated scientifically to get that quantum right. If the quantum is not correct, probably the drug and industry inspector would also not pass, and the calibration inspectors who look at that particular equipment, which is doing a very kind of a strategic importance issue, is there for the community and the society as such, gets defeated. So from a small item like maybe a small tablet or a capsule to large spacecrafts or to large maybe railway tracks and locomotives and aircrafts, there is a requirement of machinery which is calibrated, scientifically assessed, and is measuring to the right things. I usually, get to see a lot of aircraft investigation reports. That's my area of interest. Just out of academic interest, I look at that, and there are a lot of, the failure analysis which they do after an aircraft problem has occurred. And many a time we find that the component or the part was not of optimum measurements, and it used to fit invariably less, or there is a design problem, there is a measurement problem, and largely the design, calibration, and the measurements affect the entire design system of many important items like an aircraft. So the science of measurements, calibration is of extreme importance to the society. It also supports the industry, and equipment which is highly well calibrated. It is able to measure to, many nanometers or so and so forth, become of great importance in many fields of daily life, many fields of national and strategic importance. So I think we have an extremely great expert here, who speaks on this subject in many universities. He's working in a government organization of extreme repute and national importance. And today's session will be useful for all our participants, be it young or old, be it in the commercial world or merchant establishments or in the industry. And I congratulate Ashutosh ji for holding such seminars and workshops on a regular basis for enlightenment of the young people. If more and more young people join this, our movement of scientific temper, effective measurements will continue to help the growth of the economy, which we are seeing that it should be touching 5 trillion very soon. And our ambition is to reach 30 trillion by end of 2030-2035. So with these words, I inaugurate this particular workshop and I wish all success. I hope such sessions would continue, and we would like to now listen to our expert who's talking on this subject today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Certainly, you are always a ray of light behind all these activities. You are always helpful and ready to take the task whatsoever we request you. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, Dikshit sir, would you like to speak now or at the end of the workshop?
Only a few sentences that this is uh, a futuristic program, and standards are very important, and that dissemination of that very standards is also very important, that you know very well. So in the life, the quality is very important, and quality depends upon the verification and the calibrations. So with these very words, so you are requested that Dr. Jain may be requested. We are also eager to hear him, any new phenomena or any new other type of things, how they are using in the industries. That's all, sir. You may go ahead.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू। संतोष जी, आई थिंक वो उसमें चले गए हैं अटेंडीज में। डॉक्टर जैन, उनको काइंडली ब्रिंग हिम। थैंक यू। डॉक्टर साहब, डॉक्टर अनिल जैन, आर यू एबल टू हियर अस? डॉक्टर अनिल जैन?
Yes.
Sir, we are not able to see you. Will you please switch on your camera?
Camera is still not working.
Santosh ji?
No
Yes.
issue. Well, let us start first.
Okay, sir, can you share your presentation, please? So, sir, we have with us Dr. Anil Jain, who is MSc and who is PhD from BITS Planning. He is now the visiting faculty in Kurukshetra University, and he is also the member of Academic Council and Board of Management of Maharishi Mankeshwar University, Malena and Sadur. He is the visiting professor for Maharishi Mankeshwar University, and he has a lot of research papers, and he is also a working expert, taking know-how from the National Physical Laboratory and developing it in the field. Sir, Dr. Jain, please, sir, over to you. Can you share the presentation? Or otherwise, should I share?
I think you can share.
Santosh ji, can we share this?
Yes, sir.
Please. Now we can see you, sir.
Are you able to see me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
अच्छा,
Please.
Can we put the slide from the beginning?
Go back.
Yeah. Customize your view by guiding. इसमें क्या करना got it? इसका बुक मैं यहाँ से करता हूँ चेंज नहीं चेंज वो करता हूँ शेयर किया अच्छा राइट very good morning to Shri Vinit Mathur Sahab, former director Shri Dikshit Sahab, and Shri Ashutosh Agarwal ji, the director at RRSL Ahmedabad. It's a moment of sheer delight and pleasure that I have the privilege to be with you and share the real life industrial experience of how relevant calibration is, how effective it is for the growth of the Indian economy, how well it is working at the national level. Is there a synergy between the calibration laboratories and the consumers? Does there synergy between the national laboratories, ERTLs, ETDCs, industries, and more particularly the National Accreditation Testing and Quality National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories and the laboratories accredited by them? So you would see that there is enormous effort to require the appreciation of the word sanctity. Agarwal Sahab, could I speak in Hindi also in between?
Please, sir, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead as you feel comfortable, sir. English, Hindi.
Sanctity means pavitrata. Sanctity means pavitrata. I need not to elaborate this word. You go to a temple, there is a sanctum sanctorum. You talk about a relationship, there is a sanctity of relationship. You talk about a man or a woman, there is a sanctity of relationship. Today I am talking about sanctity of calibration. My main thrust today is, dear sirs, all of you are the pioneers and are the iconic leaders in the calibration world. Let us see how effective we are in the world of calibration, what is the index of our sanctity, and how does it impact the growth of Indian business. Right in the beginning, I should be very honest to tell you that rhetorics apart, rhetoric का मतलब हुआ करता है हम कोई नैरेटिव बिल्टअप करते हैं, हम कोई नारा देते हैं, हम कोई एक हाइप बिल्टअप करते हैं, उनमें आता है हमारा $5 ट्रिलियन का इकोनॉमी होगा, हमारा $10 ट्रिलियन का इकोनॉमी होगा. Let us today look at the index of sanctity of calibration within our country and how well we are doing, how well our National Metrology Institute is doing. Look at the magnitude and let us go ahead. Next. Next slide. Oh, slide 2. Now,
और पीछे करिए.
yes, that's right. Now, let us understand, all of us are very familiar with the technical definitions, specifications, interpretations of ISO 17025 standards, uncertainties, repeatabilities, reproducibility. I am really talking to you from the standpoint of an industrialist, from the standpoint of a person who is academically connected with the field of metrology. Calibration, in very simple terms, is the process of comparing a reading on one piece of instrument with another piece of reference instrument that has been calibrated and traceable to the National Metrology Institute of India, that is National Physical Laboratory. And calibration is a way of defining expectations of the customer and making sure that they are being met. Here comes the impact of calibration onto the growth of business. It is a way of defining expectations. When we are stating the calibration certificate, the uncertainties of measurement, we are defining to the customer what should you expect from this instrument. Greater the criticality of measurement, greater the responsibility to ensure reliability of results. I think a few moments before my talk, there has been a very valued reference made that when there is an aircraft which crashes, there is an investigation of material microstructures. There is an investigation whether there was an index of fatigue which led to the crash of the aircraft, or the temperature of the exhaust gas was not properly monitored by the thermometers on the cockpit of the various other parameters. It can be altitude, it can be speed of the aircraft, it can be the wind velocity, etc., etc., etc. Now you see the criticality. If the aircraft is to crash, you see the amount of criticality. But if you are duped while purchasing the gold jewelry at a jeweler's shop, the criticality as on date at the national level and the sensitivity to that loss to the customer is minimal. As I proceed with the slides, I will elaborate. So now, greater the criticality of measurement, greater the responsibility to ensure reliability of results. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, since I am constantly checking that I should be audible and there should not be any disruption. After all, it is electronic transmission. Next. Why is calibration important? Should I tell you one thing? Today, any one of you go into the market, ask a shopkeeper, go to a university, ask a professor, go to a not a laboratory, no, not a calibration laboratory. Go to a engineer or a doctor working in the hospital. Ask him, sir, have you heard the word calibration? The standard reply is, जनाब इसके साथ एक सर्टिफिकेट आया हुआ है भाई ये सर्टिफिकेट आया हुआ तो ठीक है it is calibrated. But why is calibration important? Is it known to an MD doctor or to a DM doctor who is doing a cardiac intervention? Can he interpret whether his electrocardiogram or his CT scan or his other cardiac instruments are monitoring the data which is critical for the life of a human being? Now, why is calibration important? Very simple. One, calibration is important because it requires alignment right from the top to the bottom. I will take all these elements one by one. Calibration is important because there must be a consistency. The instrument or the measuring device should not be inconsistent. That is the responsibility of calibration. There should be clarity about everything which is being measured, about the deviations, about the discrepancies, both at the end of the user as well as at the end of the producer, as well as at the end of the calibration laboratory. There must be a scope for improvement based upon the calibration data. Feedback. Feedback is probably one of the most critical parameters which is obtained from the calibrated instruments. Fairness, imandari, अगर हमारी कैलिब्रेशंस में ईमानदारी, कैलिब्रेशन लेबोरेटरी के अंदर ईमानदारी, कैलिब्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट में ईमानदारी, कैलिब्रेशन को सर्टिफिकेट को पढ़ने वाले यूजर, डॉक्टर को, इंजीनियर को, यूजर को ईमानदारी, then the calibration is meaningful, else not. Next, alignment. So technically speaking, you are very familiar with the word alignment. It may be the alignment of the tires in your car. But when I say of calibration, alignment is the technicians, production team, technical manager, calibration engineer, quality assurance manager, shipping in charge, customer feedback and servicing team, and the top management are totally committed and aligned with quality policy and mission statement of the organization to ensure the sanctity of calibration. जनाब, आपकी कार में 4 टायर होते हैं, आप तो उसी के लिए चिंतित हैं that my car should have proper alignment. Otherwise, a tire on the front wheel on the left hand side or on the right hand side will wear out early, or my rear wheel on the left hand side or right hand side. You are very particular about the alignment of 4 wheels, simply because either I may damage my car. What about the alignment at the industrial place? Now you see, technician who is producing the instrument or a product. Product can be anything. It's not necessarily a measuring instrument. A product can be even a wheat or a basmati rice. So therefore, it can be food. You are eating some food articles, anything. They are produced by some technicians in a plant. Production team, technical manager who is operating the plant, then calibration engineers who are watching and monitoring the various parameters, be it pressure, be it temperature, be it flow, be it density, anything. They are the calibration engineers. Quality assurance manager, he is the most critical person. If the quality assurance manager has to turn blind, let me tell you, the sanctity of calibration is completely demolished there and then. Shipping in charge, very fine product has been produced, but the shipping in charge has done disaster in packaging, and the product reaches the destination either in the form of rotten wheat in the wheat bag due to moisture, or an instrument is reached in a broken condition at the customer site. Customer feedback. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हमने इंस्ट्रूमेंट बेच दिया, हमें पैसे मिल गए, अब इंस्ट्रूमेंट काम करे या ना करे ये तो आपकी किस्मत है. This is not the characteristic of a sanctity. No. Servicing team. This is, I'm telling each one of them, any one of them becomes weak. The total strength of the chain depends upon the weakest link in the chain. Mind it, total strength of the chain from the technician to the top management, the weakest link is the overall strength of your organization. I hope then in that case, the quality policy and mission statement, everyone is giving the quality policy and mission statement right at the first page of the quality manual of the ISO 17025. Can you define and speak for 5 minutes? What is your mission statement? Tomorrow go to an accredited laboratory, call a technician on aside. What's the mission of your organization? Start the audit and assessment later on. Just carry out a random statement. You are working with ABC Limited. It is a world-renowned company. Okay. Banwari Lal, what is the mission of your organization? What is the mission statement? जनाब ये तो हमें पता नहीं है क्या है. What is your quality policy? ये तो जनाब हमारे क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस मैनेजर को पता है या हमारे मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर को पता है. Where is the alignment? I'm talking to you from the standpoint of my industrial experience of working in NABL accredited lab known as Vaisheshika Electron Devices for 47 years. Next. Feedback for improvement. You see, continual improvement, corrective and preventive actions, these are the essential elements very well described into the quality standard ISO 17025:2017. Now the feedback has to be internal feedback all throughout the organization hierarchy, and the user's feedback, which is seldom registered. You send a performer, he will tick, 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 tick. Did you speak to your user? Sir, Dikshit Sahab, how is our instrument working in your laboratory? Ashutosh ji, we supplied you a temperature calibrator. How well is it working? I, as an industrial house, is afraid of that Ashutosh ji will say, Dr. Anil Jain, the temperature calibrator is not maintaining the stability at a preset temperature, and we are finding difficulty. I shall not telephone to Mr. Ashutosh Agarwal because I fully understand, should I telephone and should there be a complaint, I would unnecessarily invite trouble. But feedback gives you actionable points. We have been making calibration standards for resistance. I should honestly tell you, we provided the standard resistors up to 1 tera ohm and 10 tera ohm. After 1 year, the customer reported, sir, the 1% accuracy which was claimed by you, it has gone to 10%. We held the customer responsible. We shifted the responsibility on the customer. You would not have used it properly. You would have put up over voltage on it. But when the instrument was received in our laboratory, I asked my engineer, I'm a top management. I'm the president of the company. You will open the instrument. You will open the instrument in my presence. And let us see whether the standard resistor which have been mounted inside, they have been burnt, or the hermetically sealing of your instrument has failed. I should be very glad to tell you the hermetic sealing of our instrument was a failure. It was a failure. Now with majority of the industrial units, the customer is at the mercy of the manufacturer. Most of the time, we as the manufacturers will tell, sir, आपके यहाँ पर इसका handling proper नहीं हुआ. What the hell? The customer has already spent 10 lakhs of rupees in purchasing that standard from me. And I want now 1 lakh of rupees for putting the things right, for which onus is on me. I am responsible that the hermetic sealing was not correct. Am I maintaining the sanctity of calibration? If yes, then this should be the actionable point for corrective and preventive action. And if I do not do it, let me tell you, in that situation, I am not maintaining the sanctity. I will like to use a very strong word in this webinar. Today, the word sanctity is gradually sliding sanctity of calibration into a word. I'm using a very strong word and I will apologize. it is sliding into the domain of prostitution of calibration. You look at my slides, I'm making a because it pains that I can purchase a calibrator from Fluke at the cost of 25 lakhs. But I, as Vaisheshika, cannot sell my calibrator even for 3 lakhs of rupees. Why? The sanctity of our Indian instruments, the sanctity of our calibrations is not able to make a credible place in the mind of the users. मैं आपको अपनी कमजोरी बताऊंगा, मैं किसी का एग्जांपल नहीं दूंगा. I was very averse to export my instruments to Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Somehow I was pressurized that we should export. Should I share with you? I knew from day one. I supplied an instrument to Dubai. And after 6 months, the customer says, sir, your instrument is giving erratic readings. I have no service station. Now I simply make a statement, send it to me to India. We'll look into it. Is it the sanctity of our calibration, of our production, of our processes? That way, we are holding the customer to ransom. It is a challenge for the Indian industry. When we talk of $5 trillion economy, $20 trillion economy, very easy to say. Very easy to say. It is a utopia. When we make such statements, it is a utopia. यूटोपिया का मतलब ये है कि जब हम कहते हैं कि हम तो आने वाले 4 साल में $5 ट्रिलियन का इकोनॉमी हो जाएंगे, ये मुंगेरी लाल का हसीन सपना है. I need to be very transparent with you. This is the pain of my heart, which will be reflected in the sanctity of calibration. Next. Fairness. Do I need to explain you what is fairness and integrity? In the calibration, it is the backbone and lifeline of a calibration instrument. I come into the office of Mr. Ashutosh Agarwal. He serves me with a cup of tea. And there is a Mont Blanc pen lying on his table. He just goes out to ask the boy, please bring 2 cups of tea. Jain Saab has come from Ambala, Kent. And in the meanwhile, I pick up the Mont Blanc pen of Mr. Ashutosh Agarwal and slide it into an unknown place. We are very busy in the calibrations. We are very busy in the discussions. But the Mont Blanc pen has been taken away by the fracture of the integrity of Anil Jain. I'm giving a very layman example. Fairness and integrity. It is in your head. There is no assessor who can see my integrity except me. But let me tell you, if I am dishonest, if my integrity and fairness is not there, I will not be able to grow into my business. It should be very clear to me and the Indian business. We are talking vital for the growth of Indian business. The financial exigencies. What happens? Financial exigencies. अरे यार फटाफट सप्लाई करो, 31 मार्च का दिन आ गया है, बजट खत्म हो जाएगा, बाद में देखते रहेंगे. डॉक्टर संजय यादव जी से कहेंगे कि मैं बाद में भेज देना, हम इसको ठीक कर देंगे. Financial exigencies, pressure of delivery schedule, favoritism. बहुत अच्छे जानकार दोस्त का टेलीफोन आया, जैन साहब सर्टिफिकेट दो, मेरा NABL का असेसमेंट होना है. The certificate is issued without even having the artifact in my laboratory on the serial number. गोयल साहब मैं अभी भेज रहा हूं आपको सर्टिफिकेट, चिंता मत करें आप. Can we build up an edifice of calibration which is held in esteem at the international level if we are not fair? My point is very simple. We may or may not be fair. We may not be bothering about the customer. That is our choice. But today we are here to talk Are we prepared to maintain the sanctity of calibration? Yes or no? If no, you will not grow. If yes, you will grow like the multinational corporation. Next. Consistency and clarity. The consistency in terms of repeatability and reproducibility of results of a given instrument. All of you are, sir, experts in the field, and I am no one to elucidate and elaborate on the term of repeatability and reproducibility. Lower the uncertainty of measurements. Where is the reliability of the measurement results? कितने लोग हैं हमारी इंडस्ट्री के अंदर who are keen that their CMCs should be constantly lowered. I get a requirement from ERTL Guwahati. They say we require a CMC of the order of 10 ppm. 10 ppm CMC uncertainty they are desirous of. No, it is produced by IET labs. It is produced by some other giants. I am not able to attain 10 ppm. I put up a tender, and then the government of India decides the tender on the basis of L1. Because the compliance statement says, I will be 10 ppm. Is it the fairness and integrity? I am not giving a pointing finger to any one of the calibration laboratories today. All my fingers are pointing toward the business. Because as a businessman, I am asking to all the businessmen who are sitting on this webinar today, do you want to grow your business? Or you are happy with a stagnated calibration laboratory? Therefore, calibration and measurement capability defines the true strength of a lab. Whenever you are sending the instrument to any laboratory, please look at it. What is the CMC and the scope of that laboratory at a given scope, at a given value? Next. Now, this is a new word. Each one of the calibration experts on this panel knows it, and lot number of calibration accredited labs know it. We have stopped the older system. Now it is the SI system of units. In French, it is called Système International. हमारे सारे के सारे जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, या तो पॉइंट मेजर्स फ्रांस के अंदर या पेरिस के अंदर, इन्हीं देशों के अंदर बने हुए हैं, वही हमारे मक्का मदीना है. The international system of units is the metric system that is used universally now as a standard of measurement. This SI units diagram, I think, does not need much of the elaboration. Most of the laboratories and most of the calibration experts are familiar with it. Metrology experts, I would rather say. Next. But still, for your quick refreshment, second is now measured in terms of the cesium hyperfine frequency. Meter is speed of light in vacuum. Kilogram is Planck constant. Ampere is the elemental charge of electron. Temperature in terms of Boltzmann constant. Mole is Avogadro constant. And candela is the luminous efficacy of a defined visible radiation. Next. What does it mean now? The Conference General des Poids et Measures. मुझको तो फ्रेंच बोलनी नहीं आती. They decided at the CGPM meeting, the values of these natural constants have been fixed without any uncertainty by the National Metrology Institute. Now there will be no more uncertainties because now we are using the natural constants. This is the paradigm shift in the field of metrology which has happened in the recent years. Next. Now you see what a remarkable and commendable effort has been done at the national level by a country like India. I shall like to share that the quality infrastructure which has been created over the last 10 years by the government of India with the concerted efforts of Quality Council of India, the National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories, the Bureau of Indian Standards, and the National Physical Laboratory. I can tell you, for a country like India, this is the most precious infrastructure and investment in this infrastructure made by our government, made by our scientists at the national level. And my humble request to the people here who are in the laboratories or who are in the industries, it is our moral responsibility that looking into the mammoth effort in creating this quality infrastructure, we must be honest. We must respect it. Each one of us must respect it. You see, what an enormous scientific manpower and initiative and effort has gone, starting from the top NMI, National Metrology Institute, that is National Physical Laboratory, New Delhi. Hats off to them. If I have to speak about the National Physical Laboratory and their contribution in creating the quality infrastructure, probably full one day is insufficient. And if I have to come then to Quality Council of India, Dr. Kotnala and Dr. Anil Relia in the NABL, Mr. Jain, I'm just forgetting his initials, all these dignitaries, all these experts in Bureau of Indian Standards, they have established, let me tell you, a wonderful pyramid where the unbroken chain of measurement for quality has been made available right to the end user at the shop floor in a motor workshop or in my small company or in a micro unit, and the measuring instruments of that laboratory. You see the luxury. You see the luxury. You are getting an instrument calibrated at a cost of 40,000 rupees. It is a load cell. And there is a force calibration laboratory established at the National Physical Laboratory in New Delhi, where the salary bill of the scientists, the infrastructure, the maintenance does not sustain from the calibration charges they receive. I tell you, we are getting the calibration facility traceable to the NMI today in India less than the cost of a peanut. If you have to get the same artifact calibrated at an A2AL laboratory in USA, what NPL does in 40,000 rupee, 40,000 rupees comes to $500. Should I tell you, they charge $5,000. And what does it indicate? Calibration is a extremely pious sanctum sanctorum. और हमारा sanctum sanctorum मेट्रोलॉजी का नेशनल फिजिकल लेबोरेटरी न्यू दिल्ली है, जैसे तिरुपति बालाजी का मंदिर है, जैसे गोल्डन टेम्पल है, जैसे बद्रीनाथ है, जैसे केदारनाथ है. I must tell all of you that our sanctum sanctorum of Metrology is the National Physical Laboratory, New Delhi of India. Could you do one thing, each one of you today? Make a conscious effort, have a very good photograph of National Physical Laboratory building and put in the same temple where your Ram, Sita, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Saraswati, they are placed. You adore the picture of National Physical Laboratory. फिर उनके साथ जैसे गणेश जी होते हैं तो आप ERTL का फोटो लगाएं अपने रीजन का, ETDCs हैं, RRSSL हैं, वो DTs हैं. We should worship them. I mean it. If that is the type of devotion you have towards the national research laboratories, national calibration institutions, that is the sort of sanctity I am demanding from each one of you, as you have towards Devi in this Navratri. The best of the person won't take a non-vegetarian food. He won't take onion and garlic. I am a Jain. I don't take onion, garlic or non-veg throughout the life. But even the worst of the people in Navratri, they won't take a non-vegetarian diet. They will keep the sanctity of Navratri. I am elucidating. Please, please maintain and worship these temples of metrology in this country. And you see how it proceeds. The manufacturers and the end users need not to run to NPL. They can go to the ERTLs, ETDCs, RRSSL, so that it is providing you the calibration services at your doorstep. Now, sometimes these laboratories are so kind that even if you ask them to provide them on-site calibration, they will charge a little extra and they will provide on-site calibration. You say, my requirement is very urgent. They will say, okay, no problem, we will do it in a Tatkal Seva. What else you require? You can grow the business. I am again and again repeating. If in these Navratri, you make a honest oath and pledge that from today onward, you will have the image of National Physical Laboratory as pious as Devi Durga. RRSL, ETDC, ERTL, उन सब की भी छोटी-छोटी मूर्तियां होनी चाहिए आपके टेम्पल, अब नहीं तो आपकी लेबोरेटरी में तो जरूर होनी चाहिए. I have yet to see in a calibration laboratory that somebody is having a calibration temple or a metrology temple. Why not? It will generate that positive vibration in you. Next. Now, as I explained you quite in elaboration, it is the responsibility of every accredited laboratory in India to maintain the sanctity of calibrations in the measurements of physical parameters for an artifact with given uncertainties. This is what I mean to say. इतना आपको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दिया गवर्नमेंट ने at peanut prices, please. Because this webinar should be attended by, I personally believe, some members from the industry as well, from some of the NABL laboratories as well. Next. अब देखिए, आत्मनिर्भर भारत तो बहुत मशहूर हो गया. प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने एक विजन दिया है. And the Prime Minister means it. And when the Prime Minister means it, it means it is the national mission statement. It is the national mission statement given by the iconic leader, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. कुछ तो वजह होगी जो उन्होंने आत्मनिर्भर भारत का, उन्होंने सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया नहीं कहा, आत्मनिर्भर भारत. Does it mean that I have my own bread and butter and I'm happy? It goes well beyond the boundaries of India. And if you look at the opportunities, my now thrust is, please look at the opportunity. Please look at the opportunity which this visionary Prime Minister has given as a national metrology mission statement. आप में से किसी आदमी को कौन बनेगा करोड़पति देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. You have to just follow the vision of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now let us see how through calibration we can fulfill the mission of the Prime Minister, as well as we can augment our business and grow our business. Next slide. Only the sanctity of calibrations. The Indian products can compete within and outside India only on the strength of quality through the sanctity of calibration for the growth of business. Why? Because the world is seamless today and it is interconnected. Whatever you produce, you can export it to any part of the world. And whatever China produce, it can export to any part of the world. Whatever Germany and USA produce, it can export to any part of the world. What does it mean? If I purchase a load cell made by an Indian company, and if a load cell is manufactured by GTM, where lies the credibility? That is determined by the strength of the CMC of that organization and the credibility built in the sanctity of their calibrations. हम temper करके, once upon a time, we can certainly sell an item overseas, but it must command equivocal respect and prestige wherever it has gone in any part of the world, wherever. And should I share with you one thing today? In this country, today there should be more than 4 lakh laboratories within the industrial units in the shape of NABL accredited testing and calibration laboratories. I think there should be around 5,000 to 6,000 laboratories today. Even after having 4,000 laboratories NABL accredited, you can count the laboratories on finger. I don't mind in saying, if someone has to get a resistance calibration standard calibrated, he will pay me 25,000 rupees for the calibration of a single standard resistor. Should I tell you the same calibration standard can be calibrated at a cost of 1,500 rupees? I want the calibration of a load cell. Multinational companies are coming in India. Now Samsung is going to produce their mobile telephones. Apple is going to produce their mobile telephones. Please tell me if the calibration laboratories are not able to provide credible calibration results or certifications to them, those laboratories or those companies shall be establishing their in-house calibration laboratories. Which means our industry will lose the product market, our calibration laboratories will lose the calibration business. Therefore, my submission is that the Indian products today need to compete with the international quality. You cannot be sufficiently happy that I am registered on GEM portal, and on GEM portal I am getting a tender. That is a very limited scope of business. Are you able to sell your products on the global portal? If yes, then you are in a way going for the growth of the business. If you are only limited to the Indian market, typical tender business, I'm sorry to say, it is not a growth-oriented business. If L1 remains the criteria for the selection of the customer, and you are one of the L1, then I should be very sorry to say that you are not a competitor at that international scale. Next. Now you see, this is a very interesting data. You see the global status of CMC. This will give, ये आपको एक आईना दिखाएगा, आईना. It is available at the global website. Currently, the international perception on quality of Indian products is very low as against the other developed nations of the world. Why? You look at the CMCs of NMIs in the National Metrology Institutes of USA are having today 1,889 CMCs. You look at the challenge before the whole nation, including the NPL, including our own country. China, 1,554 CMCs. Japan, 1,126 CMCs. Germany, 1,563 CMPs. And UK, 1,137. And India, 236. This is not my data. This is the data available on the portal of the global website. Can you see the challenge? And if you are ready to face the challenge, then there will be an opportunity. 236 and 1889. Robert Frost की एक quotation है, forests are dark and deep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. अब मुझे तो ये फॉरेस्ट यहाँ पर डार्क एंड डीप की तो बात बहुत ही दूर की है और माइल्स की बात भी नहीं है. मैं तो ये कह रहा हूं फॉरेस्ट आर डीप एंड इनफाइनाइट एंड light years to go and light years to go. I'm talking to you that this is the degree of challenge and corresponding is the degree of our opportunity. Okay, if you are satisfied with 236, that is your global competitiveness and that is the potential of your growth. This is NMI. I'm not talking of the CMCs of the accredited calibration laboratories. So therefore, larger the number of CMCs, greater is the measurement capabilities of a nation of international equivalence. I think all of you are very familiar. Today, India is a signatory to Mutual Recognition Agreement. And we are signatory to APLAC, Asia Pacific League and Council, APLAC. Now, we are interconnected. Our artifacts are sent to the other laboratories across the globe from the NMI. The NMI of India has to send its artifact to another NMI in Australia or Switzerland or Japan or USA. So, larger the CMC is, greater the measurement capability. अब आप सभी लोग देखें, now here all of us are involved. Up till now I was having a pointing finger towards the businessman, myself. But today now I'm presenting before you, this is the scenario for all of us. Next. Next slide. Yeah. This slide is very interesting. Real life status in India. और आपको ये बिना कहे समझ में आ जाएगा. Calibration is a Greek word for the ISO 17025 accredited laboratories in India. अब आप देखिए, this is a great paradox that calibration is a Greek word. For the ISO 17025 NABL accredited laboratories in India. ग्रीक का मतलब यह है कि वो ऐसा सी भाषा है जो उनको समझ में नहीं आई. Greek. Calibration is a Latin word for more than 99.9% of the Indian users. Calibration is a cryptocurrency for a very large number of accredited laboratories. It is a cryptocurrency. You are dealing with Bitcoin, this coin, that. No. Today there is a cryptocurrency operating in the accredited laboratories. I would like to place on record that I surrendered the pressure and temperature parameters of my laboratory from the NABL headquarters on the ground that when I visited the Indian Oil Corporation laboratories in Ajmer, Baddi and Laldu, the engineers refused to remove the pressure gauges and they refused to remove the temperature gauges from the pipelines. They said, we will give you 125 rupees as the calibration charges for a pressure gauge and 110 rupees for a temperature monitor. We have 300 temperature gauges, 300 pressure gauges. You have to finish the job in 2 days. 2 days. You very well know what does it mean to calibrate a pressure gauge in ascending order and descending order. There is a mandate from the quality assurance manager. आप serial number note कर लीजिए, आप digital display देख लीजिए और उसके बाद 2 दिन के बाद आप चले जाइए. फिर उसके बाद आप कैलिब्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट्स अंबाला कैंट से प्रिंट करके भेज दीजिए. Today, if there is an organized raid in the industries, in the pharmaceutical sector in Baddi, each one is having blank calibration certificates of the NABL accredited laboratories, where the user industry print the certificate, have the seal, and just invite the technical manager to sign the certificate. How else can you calibrate a certificate for 125 rupees? How? How? If NABL cannot control it, if Quality Council of India cannot do it, when the assessors comes to my laboratory and I express them my helplessness, जैसे जैन साहब क्या करें, ये तो सारे हिंदुस्तान का विधान है. My oil refineries calibrate their pressure gauges and there is no mandate. Why? I am sharing with you the case study. I am mentioning with the organizations. No pharmaceutical plant is ready to remove the pressure gauges from the online measurements. It is a cryptocurrency. You be a pharmaceutical industry and ask, what is the calibration cost of my pressure gauge of 200 bar? I think you should be able to get it for 125 rupees. Why should not such calibrations be a matter of serious concern? How can you calibrate even 10 pressure gauges in the real life situation over a given interval of time on-site calibration? And these accreditations continue to go for years together. Customers get cheated because of ghost NABL calibration certificates. Major nuisance. You just need to send the serial number to an NABL accredited laboratory and you get the calibration certificate. My poser to the entire fraternity of learned metrology experts is the entire quality infrastructure which has been built up with such a massive national investment in which direction we are going. Why the Quality Council of India and why the National Accreditation Board of Testing and Calibration Laboratories is not able to take the regulatory measures. Calibration education needs a national mission and integral part of curriculum in institutions. हम स्किल की बात करते हैं. Today everybody is saying skill India mission, skill India mission. I want to request you that even a 12th standard pass boy, if he has done physics, chemistry and mathematics, if he is given a training for 1 year or 2 years, as NPL is doing now, these people are required in enormous number in industries. Enormous. Why shouldn't this metrology be an integral part of a compulsory discipline course? And that course must not be taught by the professors of that university. That course should be taught by the people of the stature of Dr. B.N. Dikshit, Mr. Ashutosh Agarwal, Dr. Sanjay Yadav, Dr. Venugopal, Dr. S.S.K. Titus, Dr. Jaiswal, or down the line, Mr. Gunjial in ERTL New Delhi. They should be the professors of practice. University Grant Commission has said, now a person may not be having any qualifications, but if he has a proficiency, he can be given the status of professor of practice. Let Ashutosh Agarwal ji be the professor of practice at the Gujarat University for metrology. Professor वहां के नहीं चाहिए, electronics के, electrical के, mechanical engineering के. That is absolutely of no use. I am sharing with you my sentiments. I have been on the academic council of many universities. They said our metrology is being taught in mechanical engineering. उसमें वो उन्होंने अपना uncertainty, accuracy, repeatability, घिसे पिटे resolution, वो कुछ definitions एक दो chapters में पढ़ाकर metrology is over. I mean to suggest that since all of you are having very prestigious mandates with you and you command authority, the calibration education, अब तो national education policy बन गई. Why not should it be emphasized from Quality Council of India that every engineering college need to have a professor of practice from a metrology institution. आपने जिंदगी लगा दी अपनी मेट्रोलॉजी में. डॉक्टर संजय यादव जी रिसेंटली रिटायर हुए. अरे यार, डॉक्टर संजय यादव जी should not have the time at his disposal. He should be in a demand that the 10 engineering colleges in the Union Territory of New Delhi shall be requiring the webinar offline lectures by Dr. Sanjay Yadav on metrology. हम लोग 60 साल की उम्र के अंदर साइंटिस्ट को रिटायर कर देते हैं. At the age of 60, he is a 24 karat gold. And we declare him a rusted piece of iron. We have a new education policy. We have now University Grant Commission has created a portfolio, professor of practice. Why not the Quality Council of India and the National Accreditation Board of Testing and Calibration Laboratories must put into practice the mandate that the professor of practice will be the people who are practicing metrology. My honorable members on this panel, I am sharing my heart with you today. Maybe since I am talking very transparent, at some time I may be looking very upfront or abrupt, but I shall apologize. My intentions are, we need to strengthen 236 CMC से काम नहीं चलेगा. यूएसए का टारगेट तो हमारे पास बेंचमार्क 1800 का है। उसको तो फिर ऐसा कैसे, इस रिटोरिक से काम नहीं चलेगा हम 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बन जाएंगे। नो। नेक्स्ट नेक्स्ट नो। Most of the time when we talk of calibration, we are talking of pressure gauge, temperature gauge, resistance standard, voltage standard, fluke calibrator, Vika calibrator, thermocouple, flow meter. Let us see the scenario. Indian basmati rice. आप सभी लोग खा रहे हैं? Do you know the specifications? I honestly ask that all of you are taking basmati rice and these are the festival days. खूब पुलाव खा रहे हैं आप. You should honestly send me a response or to Shri Ashutosh Agarwal ji. How many of you know the specifications of basmati rice? I'm not saying you have tested it, but do you know the specifications? It is moisture content 12%. Ridiculously, it is mentioned that foreign material nil. It is mentioned in the specification. Black grain nil. And average grain length is 8.3 plus mm before cooking. बड़ा सच बताना कि आप में से किस आदमी ने अपने घर के किचन में, श्री आशुतोष अग्रवाल जी जब आप गए, आपने कहा भाई जरा आज बासमती राइस की जरा लेंथ तो देखें जरा वर्नियर कैलिपर से। डिजिटल वर्नियर कैलिपर तो आपके लैब में है। वेरी ऑनेस्टली स्पेसिफिकेशंस ही नहीं पता। नापेंगे तो जब स्वाद बहुत आया है आज, बड़ी अच्छी सुगंध है आज बासमती की। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। Indian basmati rice. Where are the calibration standards? Where are? हम तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की कैलिब्रेशन करते करते जिंदगी बिता दी। We have silent specifications. What were those specifications which were silent? What are the traces of heavy metals like lead, chromium, nickel, and cadmium in that basmati rice? Have you been able to correctly measure a sample through cereal grain analyzer, the content of fat, salt, and protein in that basmati rice? Are you familiar that the research studies conducted worldwide have revealed that the Indian basmati rice and Pakistani basmati rice, ये दो कंट्रीज हैं जो बासमती राइस के लिए बहुत प्रसिद्ध है, they are containing 4 grams per cubic centimeter of cadmium, nickel, and copper. And very interestingly, if you would have seen the earlier slide, there is no specification for the heavy metals. And do you know what are the sources of this toxic materials present in traces? This 4 grams per cubic meter is toxic for the human health. Toxicity because of irrigation through river waters polluted due to industrial effluents on the banks of Satluj, Beas, and Yamuna in the states of Punjab and Haryana. It was the basmati rice bowl for the whole world. I am in Haryana, Ambala Kent. Haryana, Punjab, one and the same thing. Do you know 90% of the basmati rice exporters have turned bankrupt in the last 5 years? 95% of the rice shellers have closed. The shipments of basmati rice to Saudi Arabia, Germany, Europe, and United States of America have been thrown into sea, lock, stock and barrel. You are the iconic leaders of metrology in the country today. Let us have an introspection. We are talking sanctity of calibrations, vital for the growth of business. Ours is an agriculturally dominated economy. We say that ours is an agri-economy. Our economy today is thriving on software export. We are thriving on the export of food grains. We are thriving on the export of our highly distinguished qualified manpower. And you see, all of them are calibrated in one way or the other. IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur, उनका सबका calibration हुआ है. And they are directly exported. If not exported, they are very well utilized off-site in India. Well calibrated. An ordinary engineering college student doesn't get more than 5,000 rupees. But an IIT alumnus may be getting, right at the outset of the campus, 5 lakhs of rupees. And my question to you is, you are talking of the growth of economy. Try to imagine the scope of calibration and testing laboratories required in the country. Go to an Anaj Mandi, in any mandi in Punjab and Haryana, any mandi, look at the moisture meter. A rusted moisture meter, never calibrated, analog moisture meter. Simply, he will be using Dicky John, calibrated or not. Hardly bothers. वो certificate issue हो रहा है. We have to grow our business. And this, the moment you have the calibration standards for basmati rice, you immediately enhance your CMC. Because today you have no CMCs defined for the trace elements like lead, chromium, nickel, cadmium, which are the instruments. How will it be, and how will it be operative at the site of the mandi? भाई मंडी के अंदर ये laboratory लगा दो, calibration laboratory. Tons and tons of wheat will come. I'm sharing with you my concern as well as the opportunities. Next. Consequences. अब देखिए कितना खूबसूरत पुलाव है ये, तो खुशबू ही बहुत बढ़िया आ रही है. But thousands of tons of shipments to Arab and Western countries rejected, especially in Saudi Arabia, US and Europe. Indian basmati rice, for your kind information, is rated inferior to Pakistani rice. I'm repeating, Indian basmati rice is rated inferior to Pakistani basmati rice. Look at the stature of science and technology with us and our quality infrastructure and the quality infrastructure in Pakistan. They have no match. Next. Next. Next slide. देखिए अब नवरात्रे चल रहे हैं, उसके बाद दशहरा, फिर दिवाली, फिर अक्षय तृतीया. Gold jewelry and the poor Indian buyer. You are to purchase the jewelry for your daughter. I am telling you, you are the poor Indian buyer. For your daughter's marriage, you may be keen to buy the jewelry worth rupees 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. But I am telling you that you are the poor Indian buyer. Why? You buy the jewelry, an ordinary shopkeeper, an ordinary jewelry shop, in a given span of 5 years, becomes a multi-storied XYZ jewelers. And their billboards are visible to you all across metropolitan cities. When you go to a jewelry shop now, onwards today, please honestly ask, you should have gone earlier also. I am not today talking to you in the capacity of a metrologist. Now I am talking to you as a citizen of India and a learned citizen of India. Is the jeweler keeping the weights near the balance? Just ask him, Lala ji, are you cleaning your weights according to OIML and ASTM recommendations? सेठ साहब, अरे यार क्या OIML है, हमारा बिल्कुल ठीक काम चल रहा है, देखने चमक रहा है हमारा वेट. Do you observe his actions that might damage the test weights? पटक दिया वेट को, हाथ से उठा दिया, एक लिनन है, लिनन से उठा दिया, लिनन आप देखेंगे डर्टी होगा, उसके ऊपर डस्ट पार्टिकल्स होंगे, उस पर कार्बन भी होगा. अब देखिए, यू आर मेट्रोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट्स, बट यू आर गोइंग एज ए डिस्टिंग्विश्ड सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया, यू आर ए लर्नेड सिटीजन. Please honestly ponder over how many times have you observed and checked whether the jeweler is adhering to the OIML or ASTM standards for cleaning their weights. Just ask him. Has anybody told him? आपके तो weights and measures का डिपार्टमेंट है, पूछना जरूर है आपने, सेठ साहब ये आप वेट्स के अंदर कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं क्लीनिंग के लिए? जनाब हमारा ये मोतीलाल जो है रोज चमका देता है वेट्स को. आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू इन लेमन्स लैंग्वेज, but it has a deeper implications and consequences for you. Next slide. Now you see, if you are to buy a gold jewelry worth 25 lakhs, say for example, for the marriage of your daughter or your son, I am terming you a poor Indian buyer, irrespective of your status, whether you are holding a PhD from Stanford, or you are holding a PhD from IIT, or you are working as a scientist. Do you observe that the jeweler does not touch weight with bare hands? There is no water and dust on its surface. No cleaning with abrasive or caustic chemicals. या वो जो अपना आपका सैनिटाइजर होता है उसी से उसने उसको साफ कर दिया. Do not underestimate static forces. आप क्या ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं कि क्या वहां पर कोई स्टैटिक फोर्सेस हैं जो उस पर काम कर रही हैं वेइंग बैलेंस पर? Closing the door of the balance still allows the presence of air turbulence. What a mischief these jewelers play. They will be running their air conditioners full blast. They will serve you with cold drinks, hot tea, and good number of cashew nuts since the winters are coming. And you see how silently you are permitting the moisture to permeate into that Toledo balance. Do you see how the turbulence generated by the air turbulence caused by the air conditioners, it permeates into the balance? And have you ever noticed that there is a buoyancy error, which is a weighing error due to the difference in the buoyant forces exerted by a medium, commonly air, on the object and on standard masses? The difference in buoyant forces occur when the object and the standard masses have standard masses. यानी buoyancy error इतना बड़ा error है कि एक छोटा सा ज्वेलर 5 साल के अंदर मल्टी स्टोरीड अपना showroom बना लेता है only because he takes advantage of the buoyancy error. If in the purchase of 1 gram, even if there is an error of 1 milligram or 2 milligrams, because of any of these factors, you should see that how many people are coming to his shop, and क्योंकि making charges, दूसरे charges तो उसके लगते ही हैं. हॉलमार्किंग गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने कर दी, वो तो चलो गोल्ड की प्योरिटी को सर्टिफाई किया. बट आई एम टेलिंग यू, यू आर बाइंग द ज्वेलरी, यू आर ऑल मेट्रोलॉजिस्ट. Have you really observed keenly about the buoyancy error? Have you put questions to the proprietor? I want to see that. Please show me the quality manual. At least show me the calibration certificate of this balance. बड़ा जरूरी है. Next slide. अभी positive advancements भी हैं. You might be thinking that today Anil Jain is just showing the flip side of the picture. No, there is a positive side of the picture also, that the critical sector in this country has shown remarkable commitment, and they have come at par with the international armament and defense equipment in producing world-class defense equipment. You see the case of light combat aircraft and other armaments. Today, light combat aircraft has been inducted regularly in the Indian Air Force and the Indian Naval docks. And not only this, today we are exporting our light combat aircraft and other armaments to foreign countries. And they are not exported to underdeveloped countries like Nigeria or Sudan or Kenya or Uganda. No, they are being exported to Finland, Germany, Sweden, France, Australia, US and South Africa. My dear sir, none of these countries will buy your defense equipment should it not stand the critical scrutiny of the international standards. Trials and trials and trials and trials. Our metrologist, our commitment to the cause of the nation has been very dedicatedly pursued by the organizations like Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, by a chain of defense research and development organizations who have produced the defense equipment of very high precision, first to make the country Atmanirbhar and then to export it. This is light combat aircraft, fully developed and designed at Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Mr. Yogesh Gupta, Executive Director, and Dr. Shri Kota Harinarayan, the Director of Armament Development Establishment in Bangalore, they have been my very good friends. And how assiduously these people, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is an industry. It is a production plant. It is in India. They have done it. It means we have the capability to do it, provided there is a will. Provided there is a will. We have now exported you see that what is the figures? In 2014, we only exported defense equipment worth 2,000. In 2021, it has gone to 17,000 crore. This has happened in the tenure of 7 years of Narendra Modi Sahab, our worthy Prime Minister. And the target for 2024 is 35,000 crore. If the defense sector can make the critical equipment and armament matching and coming up to the expectations of the international countries of the stature of the entire Europe and United States of America, including Israel. This is a matter of pride. This shows itself that if you are having the sanctity in your calibration, your growth in business. Now it is the business of the public sector undertaking. Defense Research and Development Organizations. Now the CSIO Chandigarh has developed the light combat aircraft head-up display. And that head-up display is going in all the light combat aircrafts. So what I mean to convey, we have the capability. We have the capacity. The only thing is we should have a sense of commitment. Next slide. Next slide. ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल, ये मॉस्को के साथ हमारा कोलैबोरेशन हुआ और हमने ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल बनाया। अब आप ये देखिए कि ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल इज नाउ बीइंग एक्सपोर्टेड. It's not a small feat. Some another advanced country is buying the missile from you to strengthen their armament depot. Light combat aircraft, hard armor plates, protective headgears for police, and 5.56 multiplied by 45 ball MK for stainless steel 109 grade cartridges for the guns. This entire work is now, it has happened. It is happening. And it is, I must tell you, now the defense sector has been open to the public, to the private sector also. Tatas have stepped into, Larsen and Toubro has stepped into, Godrej has stepped into. The point is, the NABL accredited laboratories in small, medium and micro enterprises must understand that earning cryptocurrency by selling the calibration certificate shall take them nowhere. I don't know whether they will be curbed or not. I'm no one to make an estimate. But that cryptocurrency will not be accepted when their calibrations are required for critical applications. BrahMos missile ने जाना है, उसमें material microstructure check करना है. They don't buy any microscope from any Indian buyer. They buy the metallurgical and stereo zoom microscopes either from Olympus or Nikon or Shimadzu. Government of India issues the requirement on the portal of GEM. I am telling you the real case study of the Indian industry and the status of it. Now, GEM portal says L1 is the criteria. About defense के Indian Space Research Organization के scientists क्या करेंगे? L1 के ऊपर order दिया तो spacecraft डूब जाएगा. They adopted a very sensible approach. The team will visit all those manufacturers who have quoted L1, L2, L3, L4. They will carry the sample with them. And one by one, they will demonstrate to them that, look, your microscope is not able to provide the microstructure examinations to the extent we desire. Because most of the Indian microscopes are being imported from China. Somebody will put on it XYZ, somebody will put his name ABC, somebody will say KLM. But the Indian Space Research Organization will purchase a consignment of 35 microscopes from Japan or USA at a cost of 35 lakh rupees per microscope, rather than purchasing the Indian microscope at a cost of 3 lakhs. So what I have tried to share today, that it is our option. We have a responsibility and we have an opportunity responsibility is we must maintain the sanctity of calibration so that our products are traceable to the international standards. Our measurements are reliable, repeatable, and reproducible. Our uncertainties match the international CMCs. Then and only then we can grow our business. Otherwise, in our own country, the foreigners will come and they will capture the business opportunity. If this significance could be explained and disseminated across the length and breadth of NABL laboratories, I should tell you there will be a metamorphic change in the mindset. In the end, I would just like to share, standards are always written. Standards are always written. You know, ISO 9001 came with such a big fanfare in this country. Today, ISO 9001 is available without any documentation for 5,000 rupees, and a subsidy is granted by the government of India worth rupees 75,000. And everybody is ISO 9001 certified. Fine. ISO 17,025. The ISO 17,025 certificate issued by a Chinese metrology laboratory is still not relied upon. There is a mandate by the government of India that you must not accommodate Chinese equipment in the critical defense installations of the country. Forget about their calibration certificate, even their equipment is not permissible, looking into the criticality of the defense implications. Could we go to the last slide? I think so. The moral of the story today in this national seminar is, forests are dark and deep, but I have miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. These were the lines of Robert Frost, but they are applicable to each one of us who has a passion and a commitment for metrology, calibration, quality assurance, and standardization, and above all, his own growth, the growth of his business, and inter alia, the growth of the national economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful presentation and the activities. Actually, what we are observing today, and what this is your own whole life experience of the accredited laboratories as well as the industries. Sir, I would like to request our Joint Secretary, sir, to kindly speak 2 words.
Thank you. That has been a splendid lecture and a webinar for all the attendees, and a very practical sense and with great passion, the entire calibration industry per se and its criticality has been explained by Dr. Jain. I commend his information and the practical sense with which it has been given this. I think this is going to be extremely useful for all the participants here. A few points which he has made are very important. One is from the very beginning, the criticality of scientific temper and education in the country, and possibly introducing practical topics in our curriculum, which he has touched. I, being a part of the Niti Aayog and the Education Department Committee on Higher Curriculum Improvements, this particular issue of standards, conformity, and we are trying to get a practical course, begin class 9th, 10th, 11th, and maybe taking up the subject right up to engineering and the BSc levels. So we are trying to address the actual output of manpower and their understanding of this particular calibration. Is very, thoughtfully touched that although our ambitions are very high and expectation of the economy is maybe 5 trillion or something. I mentioned about 30 trillion also. But the science and technology and their integrity in measurements, quality outputs from the industry is of importance. He gave a beautiful example of BrahMos missile. It's being used and exported, and the light combat aircraft. There is also so the kind time we take in gestation, like the aircraft carrier. Again, it's an important scientific achievement and a production, but it is taken far too long for us because, as he mentioned in his entire elucidation, that we take a lot of time in quality assessment of the material, and our procedures also possibly take us a little back. And maybe he mentioned about the Olympus and the Nikon microscopes and their quality not being able to produce in India. So largely he has touched on that issue, that if you are more or less focusing on domestic market, and the domestic market is far too segmented. There are people who are extremely cost conscious, and there are people who may be quality conscious. But if you want to probably export and set up a mark, you should have possibly the quality products of international standards made. He mentioned about the CMCs, where possibly our number is far too low right now, and there he possibly responded maybe and mentioned that we have a lot of path to cover to be internationally accepted as quality organization. So extremely fair points which have been made here, and I think a lot of work. He mentioned about one particular thing which is of concern to me. I will possibly take it up with all concerned in the government, is imposter organizations issuing NABL certification, or organizations are not imposter, but they still prefer to maybe cut short the entire process and issue certifications in maybe Baddi or wherever he was mentioning. It's not about one particular location. Across the country, it may be happening, and it's seriously affecting the quality of our entire produce and our competitiveness internationally. So we take your points, sir. Very passionate your discourse and a lecture, and I think there may be some questions with the various participants. We'll take forward your concerns and the points you made, but we certainly need to make this country more responsive towards quality. He has also given a point about the hallmarking and the gold jewelry we purchase, and I think it is very extremely difficult and a question for anyone to possibly look into the buoyancy corrections in the weights and measures which are being used. So my last point is, I think in 1958, on October 1st, we accepted the SI units, and today I congratulate everyone on this great day. And I thank Dr. Anil Jain. Beautiful, beautiful lecture. Lovely. I just enjoyed maybe 2 hours just passed by, and I hope all our participants have also, benefited from it. The point he's making is very relevant. We are getting into our 50s and 60s of age group, but the younger group, quality consciousness and commitment to right certifications and calibrations to be internationally accepted is the greatest point and takeaway from this lecture. I would now possibly ask Ashutosh, in case people have questions, they should possibly freely ask our expert here. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Dr. Saab, I would like to discuss with you that how we can enhance this problem, because we can sort out this problem of issuing basically, we don't want to make a fake system in the country. When we are saying testing, actually it has to be done. Calibration, actually it has to be done. And I understand that it is very difficult for an NABL or the NABL assessors to check or to control that. We have to develop this. Basically, this is basically the learning, or this is basically the awareness which we have to create among the laboratories, among the people who are doing the calibration. Then only this problem can be sorted out. Otherwise, certainly where we are going, I feel that about 10 years back, 20 years back, we were doing more calibration than what we are doing today. Because as the time is passing, our new children, new generation, they are basically very fast. They just want to get the results as soon as possible. So we have to just create an awareness. This is the only way by which we can make our society a developed society. And I understand, sir, until unless testing and calibration will not be correct, we will never be developed. We will be only developing. This is the most important requirement for any country to be developed. Sir, anybody else? Do you,
Mr. Ashutosh,
sir?
the thing is that during 90s, the first, I will say that the forests are lovely and deep, and we have to go miles to go, and we have to go miles to go because the forests are very deep and lovely. So the word is like that. So I am repeating the Dr. Jain uh, phrases again and again. And during 90s, when the ISO 9000 came, so the industries were bringing their all the measuring instrument, all the calibrating instrument to the laboratory for calibration and certifications. And laboratories were accepting and rejecting also. So what are the rejected that are not being used? Okay. Uh, some of the things I will tell you that this battery manufacturer company came to RSL Bangalore with a pressure gauge, and I tested that very pressure gauge and it was faulty. So I told his quality manager that this pressure gauge is faulty and you will not get the correct certificate. So he taken back that very pressure gauge and went. He told that it is very new and how it may be faulty. I told him that you come to our calibration laboratory and you will see that what is the result. So before him it is recalibrated and the same result was found. So it was rejected. Then he went and purchased the new pressure gauge, and then that was very correct and the certificate was given to him, and he was very happy that at least his quality work and his industry will get the right work. Another example I will tell you that once in a very important market, we were checking the metal balancing, and they were giving the services to the metal organizations. They had their own weights. So we checked that very balance with our secondary standard weight, and it was faulty. So that man was very big and he started to cry that, sir, please leave him, leave us, but it cannot be possible. So I told that to you call your calibrator. So he called his calibrator immediately within 5 minutes. Then before him again his balance was checked and he became satisfied that his balance is wrong and it was recalibrated, and then he started his business. So he understands that what the message was going before the consumer, that his balance was not correct and he was giving the jewelry to the people. So that way the correction was made. So this is the two examples. Another thing is that during 90s, all the industry were very quality conscious for the 9001 because there all the instruments should be calibrated, and they were very less private laboratories. ETDC, ERTL, they developed some of the things of RSL
a little later on after 10 years. So the most of the people were coming to the RRSLs, even from a very, very long distance, India, one corner to another corner, people were going because there were only 5 RRSLs. So they were going for the quality measurement of those very weights, balances, check measures, uh, tape measures, meter, glass measures, and so many things. Similarly, I will tell you that I have seen that there were a lot of medical industries. So in their quality laboratory, whatever the standards they were using, so their management was trying that this should be certified by third party organization. So for third party organization, they were bringing to a government laboratory to us, and all their glassware, weights, measures, and so many other things were being calibrated, and the certificate were given, and where it is not, no certificate were given or it was rejected. So I have seen such things from the lot of around more than 100 number of industries, pharmaceutical industries. Similarly, we have seen from Hindustan Aeronautics also, and from Indian oil companies, IPCL, BPCL, and so many other organizations also. The people are very conscious and all that type of things. But after the growth of 17025, the people started to take the certification in their own laboratory, quality laboratory. So what happened that their instrument, quality instrument, was not brought to third-party inspections, and it was calibrated by their own standards, and then our standards becomes not sufficient as required, as Professor Jan has prescribed, that whatever the results are coming, that is not according to the people's requirement. So this is the main thing. Always the standards of the even IS 17025 laboratory should be calibrated by third party laboratory, so that they may be aware that what is the result of their standards and all that type of things. Further, sir, in weights and measure, we have opened new laboratory in most of the states and in most of the districts, and even the new certificate has been new new weights and measures and instrument has been supplied from the government of India Mint, and further all the officers has been trained in NPL, FCRI, and in NABL also, to know that what is the uncertainty, what is the buoyancy correction, and all this type of thing. So all the RSL laboratories are doing the buoyancy corrections. Our others, some organizations, ETDC and ERTL, they are also following all these things. So this way, we have few laboratories where all the things has been done. Where you pointed out the defense sectors, in defense sectors is away from the legal metrology act. So that is not covered. So our officers cannot go to their laboratories. If they have some of the things, then they can approach to our laboratory if they do not have facility in their laboratory, like ISRO and other type of organizations. So when they find some difficulty for comparing purpose, they are bringing some of the equipment to our RRSL and testing those very things, and that way they are comparing their instrument. So this is the experience of my life, And this is my thoughts for this very lecture. Thank you, Dr. Jain. I learned a lot of things from you. And even though I have passed my 6th year in this very department, but I have done whatever the best I can do in my life to this very country and to this very organization. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to thank all the participants, Joint Secretary sir, Director Sahab, Dr. Jain, who has beautifully explained this today, and my NIC team. Without their help, it was not possible to organize these type of programs. Thanks to all. Actually, we are just circulating those presentations who are allowed by the presenter, by the scientists, by the professors. Otherwise, we don't share the presentations. In this case, as Dr. Jain has already agreed, I will share this presentation with the certificate very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.